So hi, my name is Perttu Lähteenlahti. I'm going to talk to you about open innovation and especially about the experiences we've had with that in Finland. So a little bit more about the topics. I'm first going to dive into what is open innovation and what is this already mentioned hackathons and how do they relate. I'm also going to talk to you about why you should care about it. And after that, I'm going to go into details and talk what we have learned as the company that I represent, and also the industries that we have worked together with, what they have learned from open innovation. But before we dive into that, I just want to say a couple of words. So hi, I'm Perttu. I'm a designer and a software developer by trade. I've been doing that for some years now, building different products, different digital services for companies in different industries. But my background is actually in cognitive science, so I've been studying how the brain works, and for some odd reason that led into software development, which I'm not sure how that ended up. But also, I'm a hackathon fanatic. What that means, in my words, hackathon is the same as an open innovation challenge. And in the last 2 years, I've taken part in around 50. 3 weeks ago, I was in the Vatican hacking for Pope, which was actually quite a weird experience, but really nice experience. But besides all this, I'm also a co-founder of a company called Perfektio. And we craft diamond standard digital experiences. That's why we have a diamond in our logo. What we do is much the same as any other software consultancy. So we are a full stack house. We provide everything from the business side to the design to the development side. But the thing is, what separates us from the other companies is that we don't actually have a single salesperson in our company. We have never done cold calling. We get all our clients through open innovation challenges, such as hackathons. And it works really well in our case. And actually, our vision is to be the #1 partner for many companies in building digitalization projects as well as new business projects through open innovation. But okay, back to the topic at hand. What is open innovation? How many of you heard of this word before? Can I get a hands up if you heard this little? Okay. How many of you have heard the word hackathon? Okay, that's better, because usually it seems to be the other way around, because people have some kind of vague idea what innovation means. But if we take the textbook example, it means using outside resources, meaning outside resources outside of a company, to actually foster innovation. And one way of doing this is through open innovation challenges, for example, hackathons. And now you're wondering, what are these hackathons? So usually there are 12 to 48 hours innovation competitions where you have a bunch of people coming together to solve your problems, or not necessarily your problems, but some, let's say, well-defined problems. So for example, I was in Vatican hacking for social good. So we were coming up with solutions how to make it easier to include people in different social circles. And how we do this in hackathons is that 48 hours is not a lot of time. So you have to spend all that time really well. And usually that means that you build some kind of a concept or prototype solution. Let's say a first minimum viable product version of your product that could solve that problem. Usually they look like this, because they originate from let's say, student hackathons, so college hackathons. You have a lot of students, they come there with their computers. Most of them are from computer science background. And for a weekend, they just code up something. They build something that they think is cool. They represent that on the last day. And if they do good, they might give a prize for that. But nothing comes out of that except that. In many cases, you might have heard the phrase that if you have enough monkeys, you can write a Shakespeare play. The thing is, if you have enough students, you might get at some point Uber or something similar. So it's like you throw a lot of seeds, but nothing grows out of it. And there's a reason for that. And we're actually doing things a little bit differently. So this is what our hackathons usually look like. In this one, we're actually working with a 3-member team at YIT's premises. It's a big company in Finland that manufactures houses. I think it does that in Russia as well. Besides 3 of us, there was actually 5 other teams solving YIT's problems in getting unsold apartments sold. And besides the teams there working, we also had people from the company, from YIT, working with us. So we had one person which ended up being the vice president of sales, mentoring us for whole 24/8 hours. We could just ask her questions constantly that, okay, how does your business do this? How do you do this? What if we do something like this? And at the end of the day, after 48 hours, we had some kind of a prototype product that we could show her, and then in the end show to the whole company in a public pitching session that this is something we think YIT could do, and therefore reduce the amount of unsold houses. But in our case, it rarely stops at the hackathon. So there's first part is always the hackathon. You go there, you hack together something, you make a prototype. And that's what the student hackathons do as well, and many other hackathons. But we have to actually continue after that. So once we're done with the hack, once it looks good, we're confident that this is something we could build. We actually make a pilot project proposal, and we send that out to the company. We say that, okay, for 20,000 euros, we could build something like this in 2 months. We could test it with real customers, and let's just see where it goes there. We don't have to make any longer agreements. They don't have to buy anything else besides that from us. Let's just test, does the product work actually? And after we're done with the pilot project, if it all goes well, we of course continue working on it. We've had multiple cases where that has happened. So we built something and the company has been like, okay, this worked really well. We love working with you. Let's work together in the future as well. Sometimes it means working on the same project. Sometimes it means working on a different project. But why you should care about this? 2 things. So when you're organizing an open innovation challenge, you get a lot of new ideas. Ideas that your own employees or your organization members might have not come up with, or might not be able to work on because they have to work on different subjects that are more important at the moment. And 2, you get innovation partners. Usually, in an innovation challenge, open innovation challenge, let's say you have 10 teams, you get 2 great ideas. Those are the ideas which you can continue with. Those are the ideas that could someday become products of your company, a service your company is providing. You have 3 ideas which are okay. They might need further development, or they might need further research to realize that, okay, this just doesn't work. And most of the ideas are really bad. That's just the truth of it. So you get from 10 teams you have there working on your problems, you get 5 solutions that don't go anywhere, and you're actually a bit embarrassed to even listen about them. But that's just the play of the game. That happens, and you shouldn't feel that it's somehow invaluable to you. Actually, it's really valuable to also hear the bad ideas, because all the points when your company is not, for example, building the greatest ideas at the moment. They could be doing that, but they don't have to spend time building stupid ideas either, because someone has already done that work. Someone has made that into a prototype that you can test out. But I think the number 2 reason is the more important. So you get innovation partners, because ideas aren't actually worth anything. Most of us get 10 good ideas a day, but they never lead to anything. And through open innovation challenges, you have a chance to actually find a team that could implement that idea. For example, in our cases, in hackathons, in open innovation challenges, we rarely build anything that we don't feel passionate about. So everything that we propose to the company is something that we would love to build. We would passionately work on it, sometimes even crunching hours over the, let's say, the limit how much we have built them. And this is your best chance of finding them, because you get to, for 48 hours in the Open Innovation Challenge, you actually get to work with the companies that could solve your problems in that sense. So let's say, in our case, we're working with YIT. They get a pretty good view of how we like to do things, how we like to work, how we like to design things, how we like to develop software, what is the communication between us and the company, and everything like that. It just works really well, and you get to know the company. It doesn't go like in the traditional way when you have a, let's say, IT project. You send out 10, let's say, the question to ask for proposals, and then you get 10 proposals back that, okay, this company could do it for 100,000, this for 200,000 euros, and so on. But you never really get any idea how is that going to play out. You just pick one from random, you throw a dice or whatever, you come up with a good one. And it sometimes works. In most cases it works, but sometimes it doesn't. So open innovation challenges allows you to step over that stone, and you don't have to stop at that point. But then, what have we learned from this, and what have the companies we've worked together? So during last year, we did 25 open innovation challenges, which 10 of them led to continued discussions, and 5 of them are currently in pilot project mode at the moment. Of those pilot projects that we have currently now, one is HIAP, one is Lassila & Tikanoja, one is Aalto University, one is Onninen, who is manufactures tools or sells tools, and one is no, that don't remember it. Fiskars is one, but that didn't continue. Whatever. So what we have learned when talking with them and continuing the pilots with them is that they are interesting projects. People love working on these projects, both from our side and their side as well. So we just concluded a pilot with Lassila & Tikanoja, who provides cleaning services. It's a big publicly listed company. And we built this new kind of service with them. And our developers and designers love working on that project. That is not uncommon in software development world, but there are a lot of projects where you don't love working on it. And so far, of all the projects that we've gotten through open innovation, all the developers and designers have loved those projects. So they're always feeling passionate about them. But the same goes for the clients as well. So Lassila & Tikanoja gave us the highest praises that we have ever gotten from a single company. And they just worked for 2 months with us in a project that was was doomed from the start because it was so outrageous by the idea, and no one was expecting anything to come out of it. So there's a lot of bad things already waiting, but still they loved working on it. But the second thing that we've learned that is also hard. It's actually really hard to take these open innovation challenges, turn them into pilot project with the companies, and then into further development. As I said, we had 20 open innovation challenges last year, and only 5 of those are currently in pilot phase. And the main thing is that usually when you have an open innovation challenge, it's your company organizes it, or you talk to some organizer who decides to put up really big hackathon with hundreds of people taking part. But the thing is, if it's badly organized hackathon, if it's a badly organized open innovation challenge, it never leads to anywhere. And in Finland, we have a lot of companies already doing this stellarly. I've been traveling around Europe, seeing how the competition weighs out in there, and they're really bad at this. No one is doing this currently in a well. Just to put out names, there is a company called Industry Hack. I'd say they are the top grade. They organize open innovation challenges for companies. They've been doing that with, I don't know, over 30 publicly listed companies. They have had some exemplary results. Another one is UltraHack. Does the similar thing, more on, they have like single event with 5 different companies at the same time. So it's a bit of different. But yeah, it's hard, but it shouldn't be. And it doesn't have to be. But you also have to commit. That is number 3 point. We have to commit. We just can't go to hackathons, build something that we like to do and hope that someone just gives us money. But we actually have to commit to the problems that the company is having. In HIAP's case, we were solving their crane safety problem. So they manufacture cranes that you put on trucks to load big objects into the truck. And that is pretty hazardous thing to do. And we went there. They showed us how the cranes work. what are the things that make it so hazardous. And through that, we actually learned to understand that, okay, their problem, this what defines the problem, how we could solve this. And we came up with an idea that, wait, we could use drones to monitor around the crane when you're handling something heavy objects, so that the crane handler doesn't get crushed by the object if it falls by accident or something like that. And we use drones for that. It's currently going into pilot phase. We were presented in NASDAQ for it because it was somehow such a big a deal. But yeah, it requires commitment from our side, but it also requires commitment from the companies, the company's side, and as well as the who is organizing the open innovation challenges to find new solutions for their problems. You just can't organize the challenge and say that, okay, let's take the ideas and get away. You have to actually take the ideas and dedicate a budget to piloting them. Let's say if you have 10 teams, try to give out at least 1 or 2 pilot projects from there. Okay, if the ideas suck, then you don't have to do that, but try to go towards that direction. You have to actually have funding to pilot the idea that the teams come up with. Number 4, it works for us. So as I mentioned earlier, we don't have a single salesperson. We started out in 2016 by selling to 2 companies that we had found from hackathons. And we've continued doing that. We don't have I think we have 2 clients that are not publicly listed companies. And we have a lot of clients at this point. And most of them are through open innovation challenges. Some of them are, of course, because they have heard so good things about it. But most of them are based on the idea that we go there, we work on their project, we come up with a solution. And that convinces them that, okay, these guys are good, I should hire them for this project. So it works for us, it works really well. Number 5, it works for you as well. We have had a lot of positive feedback with the companies that we've been working with, because they love it. It allows them to find innovation partners that are actually agile in a way that current methods don't really allow. And it also allows them to test out ideas that usually would be considered too outrageous to do inside the company, because it would mean that you have to spend 5 employees' time for 6 months to work on a project that you don't necessarily know if it's going to ever work out. But then you can take us, who are experts in doing that in a short amount of time, do that in 2 months, see where it goes. And that's all you have to pay in that sense. And of course, the main thing is that you should take out. What we have learned is that we are already at this point late in the thing. So all the hackathon organizers that there are, they're constantly trying to outbid others to get different companies, but it isn't really working. You have to actually provide value. So you have to provide the pilot project. You have to provide concrete proof that through open innovation, you can actually find these solutions. It works. Some companies haven't just realized that it works yet. I'm meaning the organizers. And also the companies that take part in, like Perfektio in our case, and others. We have a lot of competitors at this point. We are actually taking increasing in speed how we actually get new projects. We get them faster. We get more projects than traditional IT companies at the moment. So yeah, you should start now. And yeah, your rivalries, other companies that are operating the same business as you are probably already doing this. So yeah, thank you. That's about it. I hope you have some questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, it was very, very clear message, very good presentation. Thank you very much. Do we have questions about the Finnish experience to Perttu?
Meil on küsimusi. Mis on Soome kogemused? Mida võiks üle võtta, mida mitte?
I think there's a lot of anticipation for a discussion we are going to have in Estonian next about how and whether we should continue with a similar format in Estonia. But a question to you.
Hi. Does the public sector also use these opportunities?
Yes, I forgot to mention that we were actually In Finland, we have this now. We just opened up the public sector for same kind of a deal. It's called innovation path in a way. So you can actually use this same thing for public sector as well in Finland. And there is a pilot, not pilot, but there is a open innovation challenge about this coming out in May, where we have the 5 biggest, what are these? 5 biggest schools that provide basically basic working experience. They are putting out a challenge to how to solve the dropping out of students.
It's vocational schools.
Vocational schools, yeah, vocational schools. 5 vocational schools are putting out a challenge to how to stop students from dropping out of their studies. And yeah, that is supposed to go pretty well. I'm quite confident. We are applying it. We don't know if we're going to get in there, but we have some good ideas that how we could solve that thing. So yeah.
But it's not just public sector alone, right? They have to do it in partnerships with private companies in this format.
Yeah, they can use this format to find partner companies more easily, because usually the public sector is that it's really difficult to do small projects. It's really difficult to do experimental projects. But the innovation path that we now have opened in Finland, that actually allows it, so you can start it. Yeah, I was just going to say that those are some of the companies we have been building concepts and pilot projects for. So yeah,
I think some of them are also known in Estonia. I think maybe
hopefully
1 or 2 or more. Any more questions? Kas on veel küsimusi? Yes. We are doing a Facebook live, so I need you to speak into this mic just in case.
If I just may add, actually it's called Innovation Companionship and it's EU-wide project, so there is EU funding. So I don't know, probably it somehow already works in Estonia as well, might be. But you have to check it. It's for public sector in all over Europe.
Might just be. So any more questions to Perttu or Finnish experience, comments, ideas? If not, then let's give a big applause. Thank you.